Um, actually. Are you coming through? Just say something quickly for me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TakeOver Racing League Season 5, Round number 2 of the Championship. I am your host, Zach RC, bringing you all the action tonight for the first time in quite a while. It's been a long time since I've been in this league, and joining me is my fellow commentator, Dara. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, good evening, everybody. I mean, it's time for Saudi Arabia. I mean, I'm expecting quite a bit of carnage this evening. It always produces quite a crazy race, but yeah, I'm glad you're back, Sam. After a while.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to be back as well, and obviously I think you've done a very good job in my absence. So, second round of the championship. The first round, to my knowledge, was a bit of a runaway for one driver in particular. Darragh, do you want to talk to us about that?
Well, I mean, Wilson was in the. I mean, he didn't necessarily run away with. I mean, there were a couple of mistakes from drivers, but I mean, over the course of the race, he was what 6-7 seconds quicker over the course. He didn't run away with it, but he was very much the winner of the race, and there was no coming back from it for anyone else. But it'll be interesting to see if he can hold that tonight. Of course, it's being an incredibly different circuit.
Yeah, complete different kettle of fish is the Jeddah Street Circuit, one of the fastest street circuits in the world. Qualifying getting underway here, as it always is, and hopefully we'll be able to get an exciting race in particular. I was commentating a race for Jeddah just a few days ago elsewhere, and it served up some brilliant chaos, so hopefully we'll see more of the same tonight. We've got one driver coming through now on his first timed run. That will be one of the Williams drivers. Do you want to take us through a lap of the circuit for us?
Yes, I will do. I mean, the corner names will leave me as there are so many little kinks that they count as corners at this track. But anyway, Imri's going to come towards turn 1. Hug that outside, we'll get the car turned in, get it on the apex, and then round for turn 2, the tricky right-hander that can easily have a moment on the exit there. Through turn 3, little kink there, of course, there could be carnage into this turn 4. Come lap 1 of the race, he's gone a little bit wide, missed the apex ever so slightly, but then the S's roll to you. The right, then the left, keep the car inside the wall for the right-hander. Double right-hander here, as you then keep it tight for the left-hander. The corners just keep coming and coming. The end of the first sector though, Imri's first sector split 32.4, just about into the banked hairpin corner, the long left-hander at the bottom of the track, or the top of the track depending how you look at it. Then round this little kink of a right towards what I call the Rolex chicane because of all of the sponsoring on the outside. The right, then the left onto one of the DRS straights. Imri might get a little bit of a toe here. I think that's JT, but JT pulls out of the way nice and early as Imri is flying down this straight now, reaching 204, 205 miles an hour, then through the left, underneath the hotel building, and then round to the right. Out to the back, well, you could say the overtaking straight. You might see a lot of the overtaking towards turn 27. There's 25, 26, and then 27 on this straight. Get the car nose turned in, and then get it on the power. Of course, DRS on the entrance to the corner there, so there'll be games for that during the race. But Imri towards the line, and his first lap at a 28.4.
That was a very brilliant lap there, Darragh. Thank you very much for taking us through that, and we'll look now and see if anyone can match that. Ben Breyer over the line, 1 minute 29.4, so about a second off of Imri's time, so not the best of starts. Zaka goes even slower than that, but Ethan, the McLaren, puts himself on the front row, just 2/10 off of the initial pole time. One of the AlphaTauris coming to line, that's Atom, just behind. To my knowledge, he won the sprint season 4, and puts himself third fastest with a 129.3. So Imri, the one to beat so far, but a lot of drivers yet set times as Wardy comes over the line in the Alpine, 129.2. Got a number of drivers making their way towards the line. Got a car around, and that's Akakev who spun it in sector number 1, but he's managed to recover it quite easily. No damage done to the car. One of the Red Bulls coming to the line now. That's Orion who's just crossed it. Lemons with a 1 minute 31.8, so a bit of improvement required. There is E.T. Wilson, a race winner from last week, shoots to the top of the timing boards. 1 minute 28.092. Very good time for the other racers to try and beat.
Yeah, and I mean, he's what, 3.5 tenths clear already after the first run, but of course there's time for improvement. I mean, Lemons can go a lot quicker than that. Akiket's obviously made a mistake. Smith is, oh my word, that's a lap from Smith.
Yeah, very
58.8.
Yeah,
oh, and smoking cheese. Sorry, I was just on board with him. He had a moment coming out of turn 2 there. I mentioned it on the lap. But yeah, no, we had an absolute massive snap of oversteer. But I think JT's coming to the line now. What can he set? I mean, we all know how good JT is. There's the reason there's AEM in front of his name, and he does go P2, 28.2.
Brilliant stuff from the Season 1 champion and record race winner in this league. So definitely could prove a challenge for Wilson over the course of tonight. Only, to my knowledge, was actually going to race just a few minutes prior to the start. So, good stuff for him to be able to jump in and get a lap under his belt just like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, got a spin at 10th cannon. Who's just gone round at the exit, or going towards the Rolex chicane on the exit of that previous turn. And he's got to get the car turned around here. Shouldn't be an issue. No one coming his way. He's got one of the Aston Martins coming through. That will be JT. So hoping that he can avoid that Alfa Romeo. It's practically parked there on the inside of the track. There he goes around the outside. Just about managed to avoid that one. A lot of drivers setting times already. 14 drivers having already got a lap in. Although I can tell Akikev and Smith in particular will want to be doing better. Smith's coming towards the last corner now. So let's see what he can make of this next lap. But anything's better than what he set last time around. He makes his way out the final corner. It's not going to be challenging for pole, not by a long shot. And I think he'll still be around 13th last. But nope, he's coming into the pits. And I dare say he probably could have stayed out there and tried to finish the lap. But you don't want to put too much pressure on those soft tyres the whole race to come.
No, exactly. Just one thing, I think while I can't remember who was spinning, but someone was spinning. And Lemons did improve, and he's now P3. And he's only 2.5 tenths off his teammate Wilson. I said there was more time in that. Lemons, no, don't worry at all. No, I do it all the time. I'm not gonna blame you at all. But yeah, he improved up to 3rd. But yeah, I mean, Fan and Wardy again. They're looking all right, but look at there's a decent chunk between between Fan and Wardy of about 3.5 tenths. Yeah, it looks like Fan could improve as well though, because of course being on that medium tyre, you lose, let's say, around half a second being on that medium tyre, so he might be up near the front by the end as well.
Potentially. I mean, I saw him win on Monday night around this circuit. Very, very entertaining race there. Hopefully we're looking to try and do more of the same tonight. He told me that, I said to him that I feel the races that he wins are the ones that are shrouded in chaos. So we could just see maybe a Fan victory on the cards as he comes to the pits.
Oh, definitely. Barbs as well coming in. We're going into that little lull section where anyone's on a lap, but is there anyone here? Ben Breyer is not on a lap here.
Yeah, he's backed off considerably.
Yeah, Akikev might be.
On his way around. He's got Ethan and McLaren behind him.
Postas is next, actually, coming around towards the final corner.
Let's see what he's got then. In towards that last turn. And then charging off the last corner. DRS about to be redeployed. As he comes towards the line, will he stay out and finish it? Yes, he will. And over the line for him, 1 minute 29.4, which is enough for P11. So perhaps a bit more room for improvement in there as one of the Williams cars comes over the line. Imrie just starting another lap. He's still 4th on the timing sheets. So a decent start for the Williams team so far, but not enough to match those 2 Red Bulls. And Wilson's on his way out to try and improve on that initial pole time.
Yeah, and I think Akikev had a big moment on his run, so he won't be improving here. And I think next probably will be Imrie, unless there are people that I've missed or people like Ben Breyer who might be on a lap here. He's a little bit down his time, but I mean, it's an interesting one because they do look like there are a couple of big gaps. But when you look at the gaps like between Wardy in 7th and Costas down in 11th, they're only less than a couple of tenths. There are a few areas where, like especially in the midfield, where the times are really tight. So it'll be interesting to see how, when the track ramps up a bit, what the times are going to be there.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot closer than it may look. If I was a claustrophobic person in between those results, I would not be in a very nice position. But yeah, looking through the rest of the pack there. So as of right now, it's still Wilson on top. No one able to match that 1 minute 28.0. Ethan's on a lap at the moment, so he's making his way through the first sector. Let's see what he's got in the McLaren. He set quite a decent lap the first time around. So let's see if he can hold that through the end of this first sector. He comes towards the split here, and the time for him is he's about a tenth or just under a tenth up at this stage. You have to see if he can hold that out throughout the remainder of this lap. We've got a few yellows in sector 1. That's just drivers backing off. No concern there. Heading towards the Rolex chicane, as Dara so nicely put it. Into the corner, really getting on the curbs there. And decent exit from him as well for the DRS, ready to be redeployed as he charges down that straight. You'll see what sort of speed he hits on the way towards that second split. Yellow flag in the last sector. Again, another car just backing off. He's put himself... Oh, he's really lost time in the second sector. He's now only... Oh, sorry, he's gained time. I've completely mistaken myself there. He actually gained even more time. I'm getting my numbers completely confused. But he makes his way through towards that last corner. DRS deployed once again. There'll be one more zone for him to try and improve and get those extra tenths he might need. Another tenth or two, and he could put himself potentially in front of Imrie or even Wardy, who's now gone fourth, charging towards the line. It's Ethan in the McLaren. Where does he go? He puts himself P4, just about over Wardy by about 300 of a second. Fantastic lap.
Just behind Lemons as well, just by 2,000ths of a second.
And Lemons coming through to the line now.
Tight in there.
He's going to the pit stop, so that's
yeah,
his lap.
is he gonna? Oh yeah. I mean, his teammate though, is his teammate improving Wilson? He's 2/10s up on his time already, on what he'd already set.
127.
And there we go. It is a 2/10 improvement. So he's now 3.5 tenths back out on provisional pole with only 7 minutes of the session to go.
That is quite brilliant from Wilson there, and I dare say that it's almost a good thing, if you will, that he's a reserve. Otherwise, the championship will be getting settled very, very quickly. So I have to see. In terms of that drivers' championship, it is C1 Tim P Fan who leads the way after a second place finish in the season opener in France, and he'll be hoping to take victory tonight if he can to try and increase that lead. Bull Beast in second place. He's currently running 8th in the AlphaTauri, so all to play for here. Everyone, those two will share in the 4th row as it stands. So let's see how they handle the start in particular, because the start on street circuits is absolutely insane, Dara.
Especially here as well, when you've got corners like turn 2 and turn 4, just tighten up on the exit. And on the apex. I mean, turn 4 on the apex is just such a pinch point. You can't really go side by side, and someone will try and go 3 wide almost. Surely, yes. Sorry, I was looking at it. I didn't think he'd do it. JT's gone fastest. He was 2 tenths up after the middle sector, and he somehow found another 2.5 tenths in the final sector. I didn't want to mention it because I didn't think he was going to go fastest, but he has by a tenth as well.
That's absolutely brilliant stuff there from JT, and yeah, good on you for mentioning it, because there's a chance I would have kept talking and just missed it completely. That's the sort of thing I'd end up doing. But yeah, it looks like
as well.
Wilson might show a challenger tonight. And yeah, Fan up to 3rd now as well. So it's all looking very tight as Wilson taking on 2 of the league vets. A former champion and a current championship leader who's come close to a championship in the past. Yellow flag, that's when the Alfa Romeo's just spun out. I believe that is 10th Cannon, who for the second time in this qualifying session spins out. He recovers the car, gets himself going again, no damage, no total time lost, obviously. But that may have scuffed his set of soft tyres. So he may have to go again as we're gearing up for those last couple of runs as the minutes wind down in this qualifying session.
Yeah, as Geekin goes just about only a couple of hundreds ahead of Smith. But there's a lot of people out actually with 5 minutes to go. I'd have expected less people and everyone just about to come out for the final runs, but it looks like everyone wants to get maybe an extra run in if they can sneak it. Lemons might be coming in here. I'd be surprised if he stays out another lap.
Wilson's coming to the
pit.
Which
he is.
Oh.
Lemons is coming out, staying out, so he'll obviously be going again. But those tyres are a little bit. Oh no, that's best tyre. He's probably on a fresh set.
Oh yeah, I can confirm he is on a fresh set of tyres. I think what happens
sometimes.
What happens sometimes?
I know. I put the best lap tyre up instead of the current one, just you can see who's got the medium time and not.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
that's why, because it says 2 laps, but that's why, because his best lap time is 2 laps.
I also find what happens sometimes in this game, if you when drivers are making their way midway through sector 3, the board changes from out lap to as if they're on a lap. So that's been the cause. Been an unfortunate cause of confusion many times for.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I commentate like 3 times a week, and you just never know ever, and you're just desperately trying to find someone who's on a lap, and it's a nightmare.
Sometimes it just happens.
Last week,
yeah, haven't helped themselves.
Last week there was a moment where every single driver who was on an out lap, it just put it straight onto a lap, and some people in it was just a mess already, and I just didn't know, and it happens all the time. But yeah, what can you do?
What can you do, indeed? Right, a couple of minutes left to go. We've reached within the final 5 minutes of this session. We've got 3 minutes and 43 seconds to go, and we're seeing drivers coming to the pits a bit more, and now we'll be looking potentially at those final runs. Everyone on fresh tyres, more or less, who's out there. So, still everything to play for. Lemon's charging towards the line. He's 3 tenths up on his previous efforts. This could be enough to try and knock Fan off. No, it's not. He stays in P4, but not by much. We're looking at about just over half a tenth at that. So, good lap from Lemons.
Yeah, I think generally what we're looking at here is a top 4 and then a next 4, and then if you see. Because I think Bullbeast will improve from that medium time. But yeah, I think JC, Wilson, Fan and Lemons are the 4 who might have a good battle here. I mean, if we go.
Oh, Balby's around.
Which I mean,
damn, sorry to cut you off there, but Balby's just spinning
Fine.
underneath the hotel section, and a qualifying lap that looked very good. He was 7/10 up on his previous effort. That could have put him around 5th or 6th, and he spun it at the start of that final section. I doubt he'll be too happy with himself there. He's got time for another run, but he may have scoffed those soft tyres to some extent. Wow.
yeah, he may have. But, I mean, he can. Could he come in and out again?
It might be too much of a risk to take, but looks like he's going to try and take it though.
And he's saying
He's coming into the pit, so he's going to try and go for it.
It's going to be very, very tight, I think.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left.
Possible.
Oh, he's retiring from the
retired,
session. Well, he's
not
gone
gonna
a day there. P8 will be the best. Sorry, P9 will be the best that Bolby's hopes for.
Yeah, because Ben Breyer's just gone ahead of him. Just.
Yes, he has. By about half, he's improved half a second on his previous lap in the Aston Martin, so that's very good stuff from him. Might try and push it a bit higher up the field if he can. However, Ethan is 6/10 clear of him as of right now, and Imri's retiring as well. So Imri's calling it a day.
That's on track, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So he's put the car over to the side. There, not the nicest place to retire.
Likely to be a penalty, I think.
I'm thinking so as
For
well.
Imri. You can't do that, especially if the car gets in the way here.
Yeah, these late stage to qualify.
Ferrari coming through with Smith.
See what he's got.
Oh no, it's parked up on the inside. Okay. Thankfully, it doesn't get in anyone's way. I have seen it when someone's just completely chopped across someone as it tries to get out of the way. As an AI. Thankfully, that's not happened.
Right, 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go in this thing. JT is about to start his final lap. Wilson about head to start what should be his last lap. Fan also making his way through to start. Lemons is just retired from the session in the pit lane, so his day is done for qualifying. It's crucial for these top three that they managed to pull something out of that hat here. They've all pulled 1 minute 27s, and quite a way clear of Wardy in the 6th position, the highest other driver still on the racetrack at the moment. He's coming through to start what should be. Sorry, no, he's going into the pit lane, so that's his run over. And that'll be a yellow flag on track when as he makes his way in. JT is in sector 1. We're going to keep an eye on these top three over the course of this last minute of the session, and we'll keep an eye as well on those who are making their way to the line. JT through the first split. For him, he's a 100th of a second down. Wilson is coming through the chicanes before that split, so I have to see what he can do. He needs to get pole position back as quickly as he can. It's his last chance, and he's pulled 200th of a second out of the hat just like that. And Fan coming through the top base. He's invalidated. Fan is out of this one. 3rd is the best he can hope for. He'll be hoping that no one behind him can upset, which could be unlikely. Wilson backing off here. Wilson going slow. Not sure as to why. We've got Mercedes around, and I believe that is Geekin, who spun the car. He's got no front wing, so he's going to try and move out of the way for the Red Bull, despite the fact he won't be coming through very quickly. It looks as though JT has pole position sewn up here, as he's got about a 10th of improvement over his previous time, the previous provisional pole time. The checker flag has fallen. JT roars towards the line, brings it into the pits, and that's his run over. Wilson now putting the throttle back on, but it's not going to be enough. So it does look like JT has pole.
JT must have been told there that Wilson had backed off. I can't see why else he would have come in there.
Maybe he saw him going slow behind him. Geekin's coming to the line with no front wing. So that'll more or less be the end of qualifying here, unless someone.
Yeah, that is the end. No one's on a lap here. Yeah, no one's on a lap. Everyone's invalidated. So yeah, that is the end of qualifying.
Well then, JT on pole position for the Grand Prix. I've seen in the chat that he had an issue in the last chicane, so maybe that was the cause of him bringing the car in. I don't see why he would have though. Maybe just saving the tyres to some extent. But yeah, that is the end of what has been a very entertaining qualifying session. It's JT then on pole position. Darryl, what did you make of it? Oh, is he there?
Untouchable, but yeah, he's only a 10th. JT's gone a 10th quicker than Wilson. Sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought there. Wilson was said to be untouchable, but JT's gone a 10th quicker. There we go. But then C1 Tempe Fan as well. He's only a 10th off Wilson. And good showing from Lemons and Imri as well, who aren't that far off either. I mean, the top 7 covered by less than half a second.
Indeed, so it could be a very entertaining race. Then we'll have a look at your top 10 before we go to a brief intermission for the start of the race. So JT on pole position, himself and Wilson will lead the run to turn 1. Fan behind them in 3rd, and Lemons in 4th. Imri 5th, Wardy in 6th, Ethan 7th, Atom 8th, Ben 9th, and Costas will round out your top 10. So with that then, we'll be ready up at 7:30. So make sure to stick around till then. We'll be back in a few minutes' time for the start of the race. Welcome back then to the TakeOver Racing League for the second round of the championship. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is moments away from getting underway. If you've just joined us, then make sure to stick around because it's going to be a very, very entertaining race for you on the streets of Jeddah. Qualifying was very entertaining and we've got a few more challenges this week. I'm joined by Dara, who very graciously did the first race last week, and we're looking forward to another exciting encounter.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I one thing to know about this Saudi Arabia in general is that if you go safety car free, that the race absolutely flies by.
It does.
Honestly, because it's only 25 laps of a very quick track. Yeah, I mean, if there's a few safety cars, then we might be waiting a while. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm very much excited for this one.
So am I. And for those of you who've seen Jeddah before, safety cars on this track and street circuits in general are never too far away. You never know what's going to happen in this league. That's why we love it so much. That's what makes it so brilliant. Without further ado then, it's time to now get underway for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Round 2 of the TakeOver Racing League Season 5 is next. So here we go then, the formation lap getting underway, and we'll take you through the entire starting grid for the rundown for this Grand Prix. 18 cars on the grid tonight. So it's JT, Season 1 champion and record race winner on pole position, looking to add another victory to his illustrious tally. And last week's winner, Wilson, joining him on the front row. Reserve looking to try and take a second win this season. It's C110P fan, your championship leader in third place, 18 points to his name. And Wilson's teammate Orion Lemons in fourth. The Rebel team looking strong after the opening round, looking to push forward to more points this week if they can. Imrie starts in 5th place. Great qualifying from the Williams man. He sits 3rd in the championship. Could take it with a victory today. It could take the lead. Let's just wait and see what happens. Wardy starts in 6th for the Alpine team. It's Ethan in the sole McLaren on the grid tonight in 7th, with Atom behind in 8th. Technically reigning champion if we're looking at the sprint season, Season 4. Ben Bryan 9th for Aston Martin, and it's Costas, the other Williams, rounding out your top 10. Bolby starts in 11th place, 2nd place in the championship, just 3 points off Fan. Could go his way today, but he's got an unlikely task to do it from the back half of the grid. Geek in 12th in the only Mercedes taking part in the race tonight. It's both Ferraris on row 7, Smith and Smoking Cheese, 2-time champion. 10th Cannon starts in 15th for Alfa Romeo. It's the Haas of Watson 16th, and it's Hamilton Jarvis 17th, and Akikev rounding out your grid. So Alfa Romeo Haas in formation, ready for the start. Dara, it's going to be a very, very exciting race for you, mate. If you had to give me a winner from this one, who would it be?
I'm going to go with JT. I'm going to go with the old wise head on the Dutchman. I'm going to go with him. But I wouldn't count out others. I mean, we're looking at the strategy as well. It'll be interesting because if Fan wants to win this race, he's got to get past the front two very quickly because he's on that medium with the top two on the hards. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it in passing, but like the bottom 6 are the 6 Ferrari-powered cars.
Oh.
I don't think there's any particular correlation there.
Yeah, let's hope
cars are
so.
equal.
Yeah, those cars
yeah, but we'll have to see if they can find their way through.
Personally, for me, I'm seeing the Alpine pair doing particularly well tonight. Fan, I'm putting down as my favourite for the victory, mainly due to his winning midweek, and Wardy spinning there on his way to the grid. I was about to say, if things go wrong for the guys in front, there's no reason why he can't jump through and take a podium or even the victory. But I've just seen him spin on the way to the grid, so maybe I have to hold back on that thought just for a little while. The only drivers to be disqualified, as I say that, multiple drivers now getting disqualified. But we're getting ready for the start now. Akikev, the last car, lining up on the grid, trying to get that move into the grid spot just right. I think he may just have it there. JT and Wilson then. 5 red lights for the Grand Prix of Saudi Arabia. Round 2 of the TakeOver Racing League Season 5. It's lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Got a few jump starters already. Not the best of starts there. Fan is shot through around the outside. He takes the lead at the first corner. No one saw that one coming. And Geekan's already out of the race in the first corner. There's Chaos further back. I'm not sure where Silveraro's got to, but he's crashed before turn 1. Wilson down into 2nd place. JT falling back in 3rd. We've got a virtual safety car already. Yeah,
to be honest, I'm not too surprised at that one. I mean, it was Chaos down to 7. I don't know if Fan just got a great start or if he had a bit of a home start glitch there. But either way, he's into the lead. Like I said, he needs to get past them early, and he has. He's already in the lead, and he's got a decent enough lead. We'll have to see if that is still there by the time the go back green. But 10th Cannon's retired. 10th Cannon's crashed, I think.
Wow.
Under the virtual safety car. Geekan had also crashed. And then Watson, Smith, Smoking Cheese, and Costas all have drive-through penalties to serve. So at the moment, we've only now got 12 drivers in this front train after less than corners of racing.
Well, that's definitely not the most brilliant of ways to start this Grand Prix. But hopefully they'll be able to redeem themselves later on. Fan has all of a sudden, he's got a huge lead up in front. I'm assuming you have to give some of that back to Delta, because there's no way he's keeping Delta times. You have to be careful not to get a penalty at some point. I think we're going back to racing here. Everyone's speeding up a little bit. So that'll be it's only a motor or two before the green flag actually comes back out and we get back to racing. Fan's going to be careful not to lose momentum here, because he's now dropping back that gap down to within a second, and Wilson is all over him just like that compared to what he was before. It'll be a decent little battle between these guys here from 2nd to 5th between Wilson and Imrie. Expect Wardy to try and jump in on that as well. He's back to green flag racing here at the end of this first lap, taken mostly in formation, but now we're back to racing, and already drivers getting right to work. Fan sets the fastest lap. Imrie to the inside of Lemons as they charge towards that first corner, and JT looking to take Wilson at turn 1 to the inside. There's contact between the pair of them. Oh, all around goes JT. The Season 1 champion all of a sudden spinning down the order and down into P10, and that is not how he would have wanted his first few corners of real racing to go. Contact with the young upstart Wilson, or young in terms of experience in this league. A one-time race winner, and all of a sudden, CJT down the order. Wilson now has a free rein in front of him to try and chase C110P fan, with Imri now in third.
I don't know what happened to JT there, because it looked like he got a tap. I don't know if Imri was there. I don't think Imri was there. That wasn't a natural spin. No, so there must be some kind of lag issue there, because that definitely wasn't a acceleration spin. That was definitely a tap around spin for JT. So I'm not sure at all what happened there. Yeah, he won't be happy about that. Back in P10. I mean, Ben Brayer's going for him. Is he here? No, not quite. But yeah, like you said, there was a little bit of contact between JT and Wilson, but it all looked relatively clean as they came through turn 1. I mean, a bit of a send, but he didn't quite force him wide. And Brayer, oh my word!
Oh, that was very close.
He went straight into the back of Atom, yeah.
Yeah,
so he's cool, calm and composed, but I don't think he would have been there.
Yeah, definitely. He said it might have to try and get up to go again, regroup on this next lap. He comes to the last, through the last corner. It's a single file train here being led by the Alpine of C110P fan. It sets the fastest lap of the race again to begin lap number 3 now. He's got 1.2 second advantage of Wilson, and that will be crucial here as race control enables DRS for the first time in this Grand Prix, available to be used for anyone within a second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone, as Mark the race engineer would so nicely put it. Imri giving chase here to Wilson in second position. Very careful not to make mistakes here. Track limits are absolutely crucial here in Jeddah. You can see how easily we get them. I'd be shocked if we see no track limit penalties over the course of the night, but I feel like that's a near impossibility. What do you think, Dara?
Yeah, I think I have to agree there. Has Costas got one already, or is that a 5 down to 5 seconds? So no one's got one yet. But I can very much imagine that we'll have one. You know, I'm going to say in the next 45 seconds. I'm going to call it.
We'll have to give time and see if you are right. Upturn to up front, it's still all fan. As of right now, it wasn't trying to pull away from Imri, but he's still within that DRS range. So now a chance to close in. Yellow flag. And who is... I know the yellow flag is for, though.
Ethan.
It's Ethan further back.
Ethan Ed.
Ethan spun it at the exit of the Rolex chicane. Making it... Is he out of the race? No, he's good. He's have to wait for Evans to go before he can turn the car around. But down to 13th now. But lucky to still be in the race, despite having lost an M plate there on the right side of his car. And around goes... That was Watson, who spun as well in the Haas, and I believe he's also lost an end plate. Yes, he has. So 2 drivers in jeopardy from spinning out here early on in this Grand Prix as he recovers the car, gets himself rolling again. Imri closing in now on Wilson to begin lap number 4. He's brought the gap down to within 4 tenths. I doubt he'll go for it. He had to go very late on the stop. He has to be very brave to try that. And so he holds on to 3rd place for the time being, but he's pulled away from Lemons, who has a rear view mirror full of Iwardy and the other Alpine.
And Breyer's gone around at turn 1. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but he spun around as well. I mean, Watson spun just after an amazing fight with the 2 Ferraris that was going on. A smoke and cheese talking about the Ferraris goes past his teammate Smith. Of course, those guys have to serve their drive-through penalties. But yeah, I mean, we've had a few casualties, haven't we? I mean, Ethan, Watson, and Breyer a bit there, JT, and it's only lap 4. I think getting points, maybe even to the bottom end here, will be important just to keep your head and just keep the car in a straight line, realistically, especially at this track.
Yeah, it's early on in the race. You definitely want to be going for anything too ambitious. I saw Wardy a bit squirrely there through the chicane. Almost lost control of the car, but held onto it very nicely. But he's now fallen away completely from Lemons. So I want to try and close that gap back down. He's got to close another 3 tenths where he can get DRS again. Everyone's sort of split up a bit. Imri is still within range of Wilson, but it's fallen back dramatically. And Lemons now going to look to try and chase down the Williams to get 3rd place. In terms of position change in this Grand Prix, the biggest gainers so far is actually a tight at the moment between Hamilton, Jarvis and Akakev, who despite starting on that back row are now sitting pretty just outside the points paying places. Hamilton and Jarvis might look for a go on Ben Breyer here. So look to the outside going towards that final corner, but thinks better of it. Might try and go for a switchback on the exit. Slow in, fast out. It hasn't quite paid off for him, but he's had DRS here. So keep an eye on him on the run to turn 1. No DRS for Ben Breyer. Here goes the Alfa Romeo. To the right-hand side of the track as they cross the line. It's gone clear of the Aston Martin. By the time they reach turn number 1, no point in trying to go late on the stoppers. Hamilton Jarvis then up into the points from what was 17th just a 5 laps ago. But Ben Breyer's going to try and come back at him though. No chance. The Aston Martin slips back into line. As we see Ethan coming to the pits here, he's making a change here as a front wing change for a fresh set of hard tyres as well. That put him down to just keep him in P15 in the order because Watson will not pass him. But yeah, exciting stuff here in the midfield.
I mean, I thought Ben Bry was going to get the run there through turn 2, but he didn't quite have it towards turn 4. But yeah, like you said, Imrie now coming back a little bit on Wilson. I think he's generally struggling at this at the hotel complex of corners that they're just coming up to now, because the last lap he lost about 3-4 tenths coming through there. He's got through there a little bit better now, but you can still see there you go, he's lost to 2 tenths there again. I think he's just struggling around that corner, but he's just doing enough to keep himself within DRS. And JT's going to go for a move here.
Oh, JT looking for the 7th spot on the left-hand side and gets it too off of Beast, who's got some work to do here if he wants to try and have any chance of keeping that gap in the championship between him and Fan maintained. Of course, just 3 points in it. We're still very early days in this season, so anything and everything still to play for. And he might try and have another go.
Oh, hello.
Wilson penalty for track limits.
Yeah.
It took a few minutes longer than you might have expected, Dara, but it's happened now. Not quite the 45-second jet in mind as Beast goes around the outside of JT. This fight's still going on here. A side by side off of turn 2. No idea who's going to be last on the brakes into the corner. It's going to have to be Beast, but JT might try and go for something. Nope. Oh, there goes Beast losing control, and JT trying to slide through on the outside. This battle will continue to rage on through the chicanes here, but JT now has no choice to back out. Nothing stopping the AlphaTauri from holding on to P7.
That was a good fight, and that's big. I think Wilson picking up the penalty. I do think that's massive, because at this point I can't see, apart from Lemons at the moment, I can't see, especially if Fan, when they swap tyres, Fan will go into the hards, Wilson onto the mediums. I don't really think there'll be anyone else to be able to challenge Fan if Fan can keep within that DRS of Wilson. That's presuming that Wilson gets back past Fan after the pit stops. But yeah, I think Wilson really needs to be careful here, because it's only lap 5 he picked that, or lap 6 that he picked that up on, and that's not even a quarter of the race in. He really has to be careful about how many warnings he accrues here.
He has to be banking at this stage on the cars around him getting the penalties as well. But yeah, it did take a few minutes longer than we anticipated. Not quite, like I said, not quite the 45 seconds he had in mind, but still. Penalties acquired nonetheless, and Ben Bryant is having another go here. Hamilton, Jarvis down the inside. Are we watching the same thing? Just making sure.
Yeah, we are. Sorry,
no,
I was on board with Ben Bry there, and it wasn't comfortable viewing.
Oh.
He went. I think he was trying to go to the inside, and then broke far too late, and kind of scared himself and me. I thought he was going to go straight into the wall on the outside, but he kept it in a straight line. But Hamilton driver keeps position and is now within DRS of Costas.
So we could see a flat for 9th going on within the next lap or so. So it's going to get very interesting. But aside from that, the majority of point scorers currently spaced out quite a lot. It's from Costas, it's 4 seconds up to JT, who's looking to try and challenge Beast once again if he can. But has a few tenths to try and close in, which he could do with the help of that DRS that's coming up in a few corners' time. Have to be careful not to make any mistakes, similar to how Wardy almost did a couple laps ago out of the Rolex chicane. I'm going to keep calling that because I do really like that name. So that's clever from you there, Dara, for thinking
it's only because I can't remember the name of the corner, and it's a very prominent feature.
Do the corners even have any names? Do we have corner names?
No, they just have numbers. But there are so many numbers. Every little kink is counted. There's 27 of them.
I know, it's brilliant.
And that doesn't feel like there's 27.
I have to start giving these corners some names. Down the main straight here. Get back to the racing now after nice little chat mid race. Imrie closing in on Wilson. Of course, you're expecting Imrie to keep close as to why while Wilson might have that bit more race pace that he needs to keep with Fan as best he can. Imrie is on those faster medium tyres compared to Wilson's hards. That may hurt him later on in the race when he has to go longer into his second stint, whereas Wilson's going longer into his first, I can only assume. A safety car would both bunch up the entire field and maybe put Wilson's strategy down at the bin to some extent. Oh.
So at the back, sorry, they're about to go 3 wide. Smoking cheese after Kevin Smith going down towards turn 1. Smith could have made it 3 wide, but thinks against it. He's going to go to the outside. Is he going to have enough towards turn 4? I think he does, actually, yeah. I don't think Akakev's already fighting it. He's got all of his ERS still left. I don't know if he's even used it yet. Yeah, both the Ferraris are now through on the Haas car. I'm going to try and push towards Ben Bry, but that's a 12-second gap to bridge.
And Ben Bry is still busying himself with trying to get around Hamilton Jobs. I saw Imrie pick up a penalty himself, so it looks like everyone behind Fan is just picking up penalties at this stage. And that's not what they'll want to see. It's exactly what Fan will want to see, especially this early on into the Grand Prix. We noted the importance of keeping a clean nose and just keeping the car in check and not going over those limits any point during the Grand Prix. I mean, those guys who had jump start penalties were hurt already, so which is unfortunate. You can see why they're a bit further back down the rest of the field. We're on to lap number 9 now, this Grand Prix. As I said earlier, the point scorers from the top 7 or so quite spaced out as Ben Bry is looking at Hamilton Jarvis again at the last corner. Looks like the Aston Martin's got him this time, but could we see Hamilton Jarvis come back at the Aston Martin on the main straight of DRS? It might take some very ambitious braking. It has to be a bold move to make it happen. He pulls alongside and thinks better of it. Stays back in line. Might try and cut back and get a better go at him at this next corner out of turn 2, but no chance. Ben Breyer, I think, may just have P10 for at least the next lap or so. As JT making his way around Bold Beast at last. Taking him a good few laps, maybe longer than he may have anticipated, but he is through now, and his next target is our reigning champion to some extent, Atom. They're in 6th place. I'm still unsure as to who to call the reigning champion at this stage, because Cheese won the last full season, but Atom...
I'd call it Atom. I'd call it Atom only purely because that season... I mean, there were a good 6-7 races, and Atom was, definitely the fastest there. I reckon you could probably give it to Atom.
You know, that's perfectly fair enough.
He's the on-form TRL driver, if you put it that way.
Yeah, I might just call him champion for sure. We'll just see how it goes.
Then also you get less confused that way as well. It's just, if it's black and white, then you're fine.
Yeah. He's still running quite nicely. He's in a world of his own right now. Currently running in P6. He's got Wardy 3.2 seconds up the road from him, and JT though is closing in. So I think that peace and quiet might be disrupted unless Bold Beast can get back around him as quickly as possible here. So you have the DRS down the main straight. It might just be a simple case of getting him on the toe and the slipstream into turn 1. He's using his battery as well. JT also using his in an attempt to try and defend. He's going to look to the outside. Bold Beast doesn't get the run he needs to try and go around him, but might try and get a better advance out of turn 2. Again, not going to happen. As Ben Bryan now getting around Costas around the outside into that first corner. Really shutting the door on the Williams. Not making it easy on anyone today. Hamilton Jarvis kept with him, but may fall back here. He's out of DRS range of Costas now. So Ben Breyer starting to make moves up through the field. So Aston Martin probably not done this Grand Prix.
No, and he's made a few good moves so far. Impressive, but also thing to note, look how close Wilson is now to Fan. That's happened over the last couple of laps. I mean,
this could be a...
Really, with the DRS as well, those tyres starting to go off on the Alpine. With the higher fuel loads, that's a great shot. I don't know if you're on the off-board shot of these two.
I'm seeing it.
The helicopter.
It's
I
very
love
nice
this shot. Every time, at least once in the race, they'll have this shot, and it's absolutely amazing.
One of my
but anyway, here comes
favorites.
Wilson. Here he comes. I think he might try and go for the move here. He might play for the DRS as they go towards the final corner. Let's see. Does he go inside, outside? He's going to look for it. He's going to have to go inside. He doesn't quite stick a nose in.
Quite.
But he will pick up the DRS towards turn 1.
Down at the main straight they come here. It's a real Leclerc versus Verstappen sort of game here, but there goes Fan, almost faking Wilson to follow him into the pits there. Wilson stays out, but Fan and Imrie both in for their first and what could be only, or what should be only pit stops of this Grand Prix here. Fresh set of hard tyres, ready for Fan as he makes his way into the pit lane. Imrie also in as well. The Williams team are left there waiting. Here he comes, the hard tyres on the car, very quick stop, and he's away just like that. And Fan and Imrie will respond. They'll have to wait for Wilson and the Red Bull team to respond. And Lemons is there as well. So the Red Bull team have to coordinate their strategy in terms of pitting quite nicely here. We're going to be hoping that Wilson has managed his tyres, or that Lemons managed his tyres to some extent, because they want to risk double stacking. What's happened?
Oh, it's got Costas nearly completely binned it. I mean, but also thing to note, just very quickly while I'm here, Wilson and Lemons got to be careful because Fan and Imrie have come out just ahead of Ben Bryan and Costas.
Lemons just gone around. He's recovered it quickly. Sorry to interrupt you there. Wardy goes past for a second.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Carry on, please.
Yeah, so, well, it screwed up what I was going to say. I was going to say that Lemons is going to be careful when he pits, but it doesn't really matter now because he's going to come out a long way behind those two. Behind Ben Breyer and Costas, because they are, look, you can see just behind Imrie and Fan. And Imrie looks really close to Fan here. a second. That looks like that gap's closed down as well as Bulbies is going on the outside of JT. He's got the inside line into the hotel chicane. I don't know where that's come from, but JT will have the DRS again towards the final corner. They'll open it now. Well, these two have had a great scrap. They've made moves when no one thought was possible. There's about 5 corners so far in this race. JT's going to play for that DRS. Oh, but Bulbies plays a little bit harder. Oh, but I think JT's still going to have it. Yeah,
got
JT
it, yeah.
does. Yeah, so he'll still have it. But we have enough towards turn 1. Let's see.
Wardy into the pits. Down the main straight. They come. JT looking to the outside. They have to be forced the long way round of the first corner into turn 1. The former champion around the outside now has the inside for turn 2. Bobby still showing no quarter here, and he holds his own around the inside and into the next chicanes. It is Bulbies who comes out in front in that battle. Before everything started going down the last lap, I was going to start talking about in terms of Wilson and Lemons, who are originally a bit closer together than they are now. And just in terms of double stacking, that's something that they obviously won't want to do, and there was a risk of that potentially going down given how close that they were, and the fact they're both on the same sort of strategy here. Mediums further into that first stint, and then hards onto that first stint, and then mediums, I'm assuming, to the end, unless they want to try and take those hards as long as they can, and maybe bolt on a set of soft tyres for the finish. A late safety car could change things. I mean, we haven't had any of those so far. We're on lap 12 already.
No.
Things have really gone by quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think now if Lemons comes into the pit lane with the of course refreshed pit stop build, I don't know how you'd call it, he should only lose max 1 second if anything in the pit lane, being so far back behind his teammate, because of course double stacks aren't really an issue anymore, which is a good thing because it was awful before. You'd lose about 5-6 seconds. Oh, JT was going for Bulbies. I think he tapped him, but there's no harm done.
Yeah, a bit of a punt there. Lemons
I thought Bulbies was going to go around there.
And JT almost went into the pits.
Oh, JT.
There was no real need for that. And
I think he's just tried to dummy. I don't know what he's tried to do. I think he's tried to dummy there, and he's actually just got a warning for going into the pit lane and back out again.
Yeah, he's got a penalty there for
yeah,
that was also a bit too much for him.
Yeah, it would have been a third warning, I think, going in and out.
Wilson is still in the lead there. This is his big opportunity right now to try and gain as much as he can on Fan, or to try and build an advantage. In terms of the gap between him and Fan right now, we're looking at about 19 seconds a push between those two. So I dare say that Fan will come out a decent distance ahead of Wilson here, although I might be hugely miscalculating the time spent in the pit lane. JT still giving chase to Bullbeast here, who's running there in third place. The AlphaTauris, not particularly under the radar on this Grand Prix. They're definitely doing a good job, and they're keeping themselves in the points as it stands. But not really doing enough to try and challenge the Red Bulls, the Alpines, and Imri in the middle of them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, look, I mean, Lemons pitting is a little bit early. Up 12 onto a medium, when you could see that the medium runners could only really take them 12. I mean, Smoking Cheese always has long stints. Is he underfueled again? Yes, he has massively. So he will probably run out of fuel or have to lift and coast unless we have a safety car here.
I saw a
big discussion in the chat about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Wilson into the pit lane here, so he's made his stop. He's on his way out now. Medium tyres on the car. Fan might just come up behind him here. Wilson may have just played this to a T here, and around the outside he goes, and there goes Wilson now up into the lead of the race. And now his job is on those medium tyres to try and build about a second and a half here more on Fan in order to get him into the lead without that penalty. As Wardy goes around the outside of Lemons there, who may have got had a bit of a poor exit out of turn 2, and it's definitely cost him here. So Wardy now up into 7th place, and that should be a net 4th place on the road. We're still waiting for JT, Bullbeast, and Atom to make their first stops this Grand Prix, and Wilson's right behind them here. So it's crucial for Wilson to get away now while these medium tyres are still fresh, in order, or just hope that Fan has his own penalty to think about. So it's all still to play for here, with about 11-12 laps to go in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and Wilson's got to be careful because he's got to get past JT quickly here, but he can't do it right here. And Fan might have just about enough to get the DRS towards that final corner. Willie, let's see, comes around towards the detection line. No, it's not good enough. But Wilson will have the chance here to try and get past one of the two.
If Wilson gets held up by JT, that could help Fan out massively. But I think JT's more concerned with taking on Bobby. There's contact! And for the second time in this race, JB and Wilson collide. And JB ends up with the worst of it.
Look at Imri! Look at Imri!
Imri, where is he? He's going for it. They're side by side down the main straight. And there goes Wilson off into the pit lane. Imri now looking for the net first place. In towards turn 1. Imri has the net lead. Bobby's in first. But Imri's just got around Fan. And now his job is to try and get away from Fan as best he can. What on earth just went down in those last few moments?
I said, didn't I? I said he's got to be careful to get around him, and he just completely misjudged the braking. Went straight into the back of JT. He's got a wing change to do, and he'll definitely get a penalty for that. There's no escaping it at all. He spun JT around, who's also in the pit lane, but granted that is a scheduled stop. But yeah, he's blown it away, Wilson. And then that's just left the door wide open for the likes of Fan, and even Lemons if he can come back into this.
Yeah, like I say, despite what they're going down, it's definitely all to play for. But a crazy couple of moments here. All of a sudden, a second collision between JT and Wilson. Then putting the Red Bull down the order and passing the torch to his teammate, who's also on those medium tyres. So Red Bull has still got a car in terms of having a chance of winning this race. So it does seem to be between Alpine, Williams and Red Bull, as it has been throughout this race. And Smith has crashed it at turn number 1 after, sorry, not turn 1. He's crashed it at turn 4 after contact perhaps with Watson, I think, because he's just getting away from that now. Not enough for a safety car by the looks of things, so not enough to bunch everyone together as Bold Beast is coming into the pit lane now.
I'm amazed that's not a safety car. Yeah, Lemons doesn't look like he's gaining much, but Wilson's now going to clear this traffic of Smoking Trees and Ben Breyer, and he's going around the outside of Smoking Trees number 1. He'll surely get past Ben Breyer number 2, but he's still not quite clear of Smoking Trees. Got to be careful again on the brakes into the final corner. Can he get it looped around the outside? Yes, he can. Lovely move for Wilson, and he surely will be able to get Ben Breyer down this main straight.
Well, that's to wait and see here as Cheese pulls into the pits behind them. The Aston Martin versus the Red Bull. I think the Red Bull wins by a decent amount, and going towards turn 1, he's well clear of Ben Breyer as they enter the first corner. So Wilson, now a man on a mission, but it's an unlikely mission. I just can't see him pulling off with this much little left to go in this race. What is still there in 4th there? I want to talk about him briefly. He's had a very consistent Grand Prix so far.
Yeah.
Do we see him challenging for a podium in the late stages? Could he catch Lemons if we see a mistake or two from the Red Bull driver?
Well, there's that question. There's Atom, who's only a couple of seconds behind Wardy, who's on the medium tyres as well. So Atom might be trying to get to Wardy as well for P4. Another thing to note, though, just thinking back a few laps ago, Lemons, will he be ruining that spin? It only lost him about 6 seconds, but look at the gap from him to the leader.
Yeah, it's definitely cost him at this stage, but it's a good thing he's on those medium tyres, despite the fact he won them perhaps a bit earlier than intended. Was that always the plan? He may be banking on a safety car of some kind, but I doubt he'll be getting that. Everyone is quite spaced out. As of right now, there is only the 2 leaders are separated by with less than a second. As I say that now, JT gets within a second of back of Kev. It's been another chase down the main straight for these 2 leaders. Imri shows the way, but Fan, now the wily old fox out there, sniffing his hopes for a second TakeOver Racing League victory, to my knowledge. His first one coming in Australia in Season 3 after a very crazy race. And I'll do my best to reference that as much as I can whenever Fan is up front in future. Sorry, not Lemons, it was Atom who set the fastest lap of the race here. So those medium tyres definitely doing their job, as Wilson now exceeds that, 129.6. And as I said a lap ago, he's a man on a mission, but maybe there might be a bit of hope for him if he can keep like this pace all the way to the end, but I doubt that he can.
I can't see him getting past Atom here. I mean, he may be able to catch Wardy, but that's a big may. And that's if Atom gets past him quickly. So, I mean, yeah, I think target for Wilson here is P6 here. Because, I mean, he's got the penalty as well to think about.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I say, in terms of the guys up front, still everything to play for, especially between this battle between Fan and Imri that's been going on down the main straight the last couple of laps. We're still this far into the race with only that virtual safety car really slowing us down. This race has absolutely flown by, and we are now just 8 laps away from the finish. And we'll see C110P Fan hang back here. I think he has no choice to. He's not close enough. He might try and set up for DRS on the main straight once again as they make their way into the final corner now. It's still Imri in control by about 2.5 tenths. As they make their way down the main straight, it's going to be all Fan here. Look how much ERS Imri has left. He's got almost nothing left in the tank. Fan's got half a tank of ERS left in his store. As they charge towards turn 1, he could use that. I think he's saving it to wait for an attack. And in reality, he doesn't really need to go for it. I mean, he's there within range of Imri, who's got a 3-second penalty. If Fang was to get a penalty of his own, as Wardy gets... Oh, sorry, Atom and Wardy side by side at turn 1. Atom's got him there. But yeah, in terms of Imri and Fan, that 3-second penalty is crucial. If Fan gets another one, then he can use the ERS to try and get around Imri, and that'll be a race to the win again. But as of right now, he can just sit there and be perfectly fine with how he's doing right now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I think Atom must have pushed after, but Lemons here. Lemons really is gaining that gap. I mentioned it 2 laps ago was 6.2 seconds. It's now 4.2 and closing 4.1. You know, it is coming down quite significantly. Atom's already gapped Wardy by more than a second, and Bullbeast is coming at the Alpine driver now as well. Wardy looks like he may have underfueled, looking at that telemetry. He's got to be careful come the end.
Yeah, it's been very tight towards the end of this Grand Prix in terms of Fuwa to see whether or not he makes it. He's still got a mirror that's got Bullbeast in the distance. He'll be hoping that the Alpha Tag doesn't come into play for him too much. I think I'm sure he'd much rather just keep what he's got here and go to the end. As Fan goes around the outside of Imri, out of the final corner. Imri still trying to get alongside him on the exit, but he'll have DRS for this main straight. He's lost a lot of momentum here, but that toes will be crucial. And now Fan is in the lead, looking to try and get away if he can. He's using that battery to his advantage. But Imri still closing in. He's on the outside. He has to go late on the stoppers to even have a chance of making a move. He's going to double back here and try and go for an exit as they make the way off turn 2. But it's Fan who now comes out in the lead.
Yeah, I didn't know if he'd get a very good exit out of there. Sometimes if you get the perfect line, you could try and challenge into turn 4, but not quite for Imri. Lemons is now closing again. Sector 1 is where he makes up a lot of the time. I bet he won't this lap, just because now I've mentioned it. Okay, yeah, he is. Look at that. It was 3.7, it was 3.6, it was 3.5, now it's 3.4. The gap just closes through the S's. I mean, that advantage, of course, will start slipping away as the tyres wear out. Bullbeast is still... Look at him, right on the back of Wardy now, and he's being dragged up towards Atom at the moment. He's only 1.2 behind the Oscar.
In terms of points for Bullbeast, should he catch Atom, do you think that the champion will move over and allow him through in order to minimise the gap to Fan, who's obviously on course to win this race? Or do you reckon Atom will stay in fourth as best he can?
No, I think Atom will keep pushing. I can't see him. Especially as the fact that if he was going to give him the position as Bullbeast, is he going to go for the move there? No, not quite. To let him by, Atom would have to give him an extra 6 seconds of breathing room, and 6.9 behind him is Wilson. And Wardy's there as well, so it'd be very difficult for him to let him by and then basically get him the position on penalties. Unless he intentionally got penalties himself.
Oh, that's true. I did completely misjudge. I forgot the fact that he had
penalties. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Difficult, that one. I remember I did a, well, Bullbeast is coming down the inside of Wardy. He's going to be able to make the move. Wardy's trying to squeeze him to the inside, but Bullbeast looks like he has the move done into turn 1. Yes, he does. A little bit deep, but Wardy also goes deep and can't really capitalise. But yeah, I had a race a year and a half ago. We had a realistic league. We were doing a Sakir Grand Prix. You can tell it was 2020. And it was a 100% race, of course, because the track was so small. And over the course of the race, I'd caught my teammate who had been ahead of me the entire race, but he'd slowed down on that last corner, and eventually that gave me the championship in the end. So, I mean, that could happen, but again, in the scenario here, I don't think it's possible. Bullbeast, massive snap of oversteer, Wardy back pass.
That was very close to clearing the end of the race for him.
Good save, though.
Very good save.
Here we go. This is a good point for me to reference that Wardy said in the chat earlier that he was wearing his Norwich City socks.
He did say that earlier.
Which is why this year he's got this consistency. Well, actually, it doesn't really work for this season, but you still get the joke.
Get the gist of it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
in terms of the battle between the two leaders, things have changed massively since Fan got around Imri. He's built that gap to 2 seconds, but has now used a lot of his ERS store. And Lemons, as you said, Dara, he continued to close in over and over again, and now he's 1.2 seconds off of that second place spot held by Imri. So right now he's in officially in second place thanks to that penalty. So unless he gets one of his own, he's actually decent in terms of timing, but he needs to close in that little bit more those medium tyres have done 8 laps here, and they're nearing the end of their lifespan, or at least the end of their prime, as we close down this race. These last couple of laps, the closing phase has quickly approached us.
I mean, my pick for winner JT is now nearly being lapped. He should stay ahead on fresh mediums, but it didn't go to plan, that prediction. As Wilson, another penalty.
I believe I said Fan at the start of the race, so I'm very pleased with myself.
Yeah, you did.
I said Fan and maybe Wardy, but Wardy, he
Evans
hasn't quite shown the speed. He's holding himself back into it. He hasn't quite shown the speed that Fan has over the course of the day. We have to think back to the start here, because that was absolutely crucial for Fan, who's cut a corner there to some extent and may end up with a warning potentially. We have to wait and see if anything comes of it, should he get another one. If he does, all of a sudden open things up for the guys behind him. Lemons now within a second, well within DRS range of Imrie, might be looking to try and swipe that second spot on the rostrum. On the exit, poor exit from the Williams car, and the Rebels are look to the outside here. DRS and ERS deployed, full charge over the line as Orion Lemons shoots up into the second spot and now has the job to do of closing down that 2.23 second gap to C110P Fan, who's got 2 lapped cars in front of him, who's showing no signs of getting out of the way here.
I've just checked it while you were speaking there. Fan has one warning. He didn't pick one up on that lap, and Orion and Lemons has none. And the gap is now only 1.6 seconds. It's so close now. I think Lemons has been the fastest driver tonight, if you include his 6-7 second loss from a spin here. But it's whether he can rectify the mistake or not.
He's definitely on course to try and do that right now. Look how much he's closing in. I mean, Fan's tyres won't be doing brilliant themselves. However, they've got a lot more lifespan than Lemons will. And I dare say he'll start losing grip, and it'll really start to drop off over the next couple of laps or so. But if he can get himself within DRS range before that happens, then he should be on course. And he's got DRS off the lap task in front of him. That's Watson there in 15th. So that's definitely helping his case. As Bulbeast gets another penalty, and that'll be 9 seconds to his name now. Let's switch things to penalties here as we close towards the end of this race. That'll be the statistic we want to keep our eye on here, as well as this chase for the top spot. It looks like Imrie's going to try and come back at Lemons if he can. He's going to have DRS down the main straight, but Lemons is also going to get it off of Watson as well. And Fan still there, just in front, is getting DRS off of JT as well. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of lapped cars giving the leaders DRS, but you know that's just me, and I can't change those rules, unfortunately.
No, I agree with you.
Just 3 more laps to go now in this Grand Prix. 1.2, 1.1, that gap closing. Dario, you were completely right a few laps ago when you said that he was going to close in. It wasn't Wilson who was going to do the job. It looks like this other driver, Lemons, might just do it instead, as Fan had a particularly poor first sector and Watson's all over him. He can't go for the move, and Lemons has got just a few corners to close that extra 10th or so in order to get himself into DRS range and stand a real chance of winning this Grand Prix.
Of course, one thing to catch on to overtake, but he's so close now. I mean, he will get DRS off Watson unless something diabolical happens in this. The Kane hit.
Watson's ghosting inside of Fan here. So
he does have the DRS.
He's getting the pass.
Span and the DRS. Span does have the DRS, but they'll both have the DRS here till the end, which I think if this was me right now, I'd be trying to join a party with these two and trying to get them to move out of the way, because it's just going to give Fan the DRS just to be able to keep it in front of Lemons and win this race, I think. Yeah,
and in all fairness, they should be moving out of the way anyway, because it's blue flag rules, to my knowledge.
Exactly.
So there may have to be some questions asked after the race. I have to get the opinion of the guy who finished second, because that could be a crucial factor as to why Fan is staying in it right now. So come to the line for 2 more laps to go. Imrie is fallen out of the fight completely, and he may even lose out on the podium place to Atom if the AlphaTauri driver can get his skates on. And behind them, Wilson is catching Wardy now down the main straight. I doubt that Wilson will actually keep the space. I think he will finish in 6th. There's yellow flag, and who was that? That was Watson. So one of the lap cars now out of the way, and there's no one separating Lemons and Fan now, who's still getting DRS off JT. But for how long? Because I think JT's pulling away to some extent. I think Fan won't have DRS anymore. So all of a sudden, this might become just a 2-horse race for the victory, unless Fan closes back in on JT, which I feel like he might be doing right now.
Yeah, but come on, JT, mate. I mean, I really want this to be a proper fight with 2 laps to go, 2 final corners to go. But I'm not sure whether it's just going to be fair on Lemons here. Ooh. Let's see, has Fan got DRS? Yeah, they've both got DRS again. So Lemons not able to close up.
So this could be crucial here. And we've got to remember that in terms of ERS, Fan has more than Lemons does. There's not much between them, but Fan has more he can use on that final lap. Not to mention the help of JT giving him DRS and only closing on him now. So this could be an anticlimactic final lap, but they're very close to each other. So that toe could be useful as well, which I feel like Lemons is getting more than Fan is. So this is it then. This is the bell lap. One more lap to go here in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We've gone 24 laps without a safety car. We won't get one in this Grand Prix. Emery trying to, behind them as well, trying to hold on to that podium place. Atom closing him down. Into turn 1 we go now. This is going to be a straight up shootout between Fan and Lemons. Yellow flag, and that is one of the Alfa Romeos has gone around. Not sure, through the only Alfa Romeo, that's Hamilton Jarvis who spun it. Yep. Through the chicanes now. Fan has control. Lemons, his tyres have maybe gone off the cliff here. He's still keeping with Fan, but he would have had to rely on that DRS a lot more in these late stages. And that's what's helped Fan so much to this race victory, because he's going to get it off of JT, who, as I said, all fairness, should be moving out of the way. Watson's now broken his front wing behind them, so not a huge deal. He won't be a huge part in this battle. Less than half a second separating them. Here around no! On the final lap! Where has my voice gone? Oh, man, no!
Oh, he needs to flick himself around. Flick himself around.
Turn the car around quickly. The podium.
He's just gonna flick.
The podium's
Flick himself around.
The podium's fallen away completely.
Oh, no.
For Lemons, and he may just fall out the points as well. This race is over for him, and all of a sudden, this race is going to C110P fans, short of nothing going wrong in this final sector. Well, no one saw that coming on this final lap. For the second time, that far end of the track, that sweeping left-hander catches out Lemons, and it's cost him dearly both times. He spun from it, came back, spun out again, and it's going to go the way of Fan here, who for the second time this week is going to win in Jeddah. And for the second time, to my knowledge, in the TakeOver Racing League, he wins in Saudi Arabia. The second round of the championship goes to our championship leader, who increased his lead. Emery comes home for second. He'll hold on to it over Atom, who takes third. Wilson comes back for fourth. Bullbeast will take fifth. Wardy will take fifth. Bullbeast takes sixth place. And Orion Lemons. Oh, Wardy's out of fuel. So Lemons might just get up the line here. It's going to be tight. No. And Orion Lemons. Orion Lemons battered and beaten in sixth place. Wow, what a race.
I don't know why Lemons didn't flick himself back. He tried to just coax the car. He needed to give him a footful of accelerator and just flick the back end around and get back in a straight line. And I think that's probably cost him fourth here. Yeah, no, I mean, it's at least cost him fifth. But yeah, I mean, it's such a shame for him to lose out on the final lap of the race. And again, I don't want to, you know, it was Smoke and Cheese going for Akakev on the final lap, final corner.
Might just get him here, unless Cheese switches back. No, it's a very nice switch back. We're side by side for the line. I think Cheese has got him. Yes, he has. Cheese
run out of fuel on the line.
Oh,
yes, he did. He did.
Who got it?
He's run out of fuel on the line.
Yes, Alkakev gets it. Well, that was a tight one to the line. And I can only wish that we had that kind of thing between Lemons and Fan to the finish instead. But it is what it is. And C110P Fan then is today's winner. Well, Dara, mate, give me your thoughts.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Fan, again, he kept his head. He kept it in a straight line. And, yeah, I mean, Lemons and Wilson, sorry, didn't. And that's cost them very, very dearly indeed. I mean, yeah, I mean, all congrats to Fan. Atom has somehow found himself up in P3. I think he'll be very pleased about that. I don't really know how he's done it, but he has. Yeah, but I think Lemons cost him himself there by not being more aggressive, trying to get himself back around after that spin. But those two spins in total really cost him. I mean, he would have been ahead by quite a margin if he did spin the first time.
Well, those mistakes that he'll rue to regret over the course of the next couple of rounds as he looks to try and score more points. I've been told we'll be able to talk to a C110P fan in just a moment here, so it'll give him just a second. But in terms of final results then, Fan wins the race, Imbri second, Atom in third, he rounds off the podium. 3 different constructors on the podium there. Wilson comes back for 4th. It's Wardy 5th. Lemons in 6th in the end. Heartbreaking for him on the last lap. Ballby 7th. Ben Breyer 8th. Costas 9th. And Ethan takes home the final point in the end. Comeback drive for him. Very good job. Jarvis home in 11th. There's Akkev behind him in 12th. Narrowly beating out Cheese by less than a 10th there. Look how close it was. Just 200 between them. JT 14th. Watson 15th. We have to see what fans say about the DRS they got from at the end. And Smith, 10th Cannon and Geekin all retiring from this Grand Prix. Absolute thrills. Some spills. Not as many as perhaps we were anticipating in Saudi Arabia, but a thrilling race nonetheless. And we do hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. And I'll get Fan in just a second here into the comms chat.
Would you like me to try and get Imri and Asim into an Xbox party? I mean, you won't be able to hear them, but do you want me to do them interviews?
Yeah, you can if you want to. It's completely your choice. I'll
only
give
because
the
then
Fan to come in now.
I have remembered actually. I did do interviews last week. I can't actually believe I forgot that.
Alright.
I can grab them in for the party.
Okay, I'll be talking to C1 Tim P Fan here, who will be with us in just a matter of moments. But what a race from him! He's driven that completely flawlessly, especially from got on the line. Fan, mate, second time I'm talking to you this week. Congratulations, you've done it again.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, for me and Darragh, at least up in the comments box, it's a very entertaining race for us to watch. Talk us through it. What went down in that one?
Not a lot, to be honest. The first stint was good. I don't know if you caught it on stream, but I got the best start I've ever had.
Oh, we did. We caught
My
it
life.
brilliantly.
And jumped. Was it JT and Wilson? Luckily enough, I just about managed to pull a gap with the VSC, and just about managed to hold that till my tyres died. What else happened? It kind of felt a bit like last week, to be honest. What else happened? Then there was a crash in front of me. I think was it Wilson and JT.
Yes, it was. Those two made contact, and that cost to Wilson.
And then
really.
they sort of clashed, and then I had to hit the brakes, and that allowed, I think it was Imola back in, and he got ahead. And then I could see from his flashing lights he had no battery left, so I was just managing behind him. Then got back ahead. We were trying to play game. I don't know if you saw. We were trying to play games with the DRS.
I did see that. Yeah, we did. It was
but I was half expecting it, so I was ready to go as soon as he broke. And like I said, I'd saved up my battery, so I just went. But I don't know how I feel about the last. Was it 8 laps, something like that? I kind of feel I got left in a bit of a difficult position because, JT 100% should have moved. And I just didn't have the pace to go past him without him letting me through. So all I was doing was just picking up DRS. So yeah, I don't feel great. It doesn't feel like I've earned that one, if I'm honest. I think Lemons 100% would have won that.
It was a very close race between the two of you, very entertaining for us to watch. Yeah, I was going to ask you in terms of JT and Watson, who just made the choice not to move out of the way there. So I was going to ask you if you had anything to say about that in particular.
So Watson let me through, but he was just on fresher tyres and quicker, and he just legitimately re-overtook me, which he's entitled to do if he's faster. JT, I just couldn't pass him, but at the same time, I don't know whether he wasn't dropping me or what, but he wasn't dropping me, and I was just picking up DRS every time, which was giving me a bit of a toe, which feels a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I completely.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it.
Of course,
I mean, a win's a win, but yeah,
same sort of situation as on Monday night. I was going to ask you on the last lap. I'm assuming you saw Lemons just disappear from view behind you. Did you have any idea what happened there?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't remember what turn it is. There's about 50 of them, it feels like. But yeah, just at the end of, or the start of Sector 2, I saw him go. which was a shame because he probably deserved to win that race.
It was very close between the pair of you. I'd say it was either way, whoever came out on top would have deserved it. We shouldn't take much away from you because you have you did drive more or less almost a flawless race there. No one really seemed capable of catching you apart from Lemons at the end. One last question I'm going to ask you. So going to the next race of the season, which if I bring the calendar up next to me, of course you go into it with the championship lead. The next race being Austria. So how is the Red Bull Ring as a track for you? Could we see that league getting extended?
I don't think I've ever had a good race at Austria. Genuinely. So potentially not. We'll see. I've had good pace the last couple of races, but we'll see.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing it. So thank you very much for coming joining us this little post-interview, and go and celebrate however you want. I assume you've probably got a bottle somewhere in the house, so go and enjoy that to some extent.
A few left over from Christmas.
Always good to see. Right, so yeah, we'll let you go then. Thank you for coming along, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, mate. See you guys.
All right then, so that was our victorious C110P fan. Dara, have you got anything you'd like to add?
Oh well, I mean, Fan was great all race long, and he was great, and I think he did deserve the win. On balance of he didn't make the two mistakes that Lemons did. Granted, he's right. I think the Lapcross should have moved it out of the way. I've got Atom with me. If you wouldn't, I can do a quick. It'll only be heard on mine, but I can do that if you want me to.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. You want to go over to Atom over there?
Right, Atom. Oh, P3 in the end. I mean, that's kind of surprising. I mean, because you didn't. You kind of appear that Lemons' spin helped you out, but you drove a very solid race, no mistakes, and P3. I mean, are you pleased with that in the end? Yeah. And didn't really have any. You didn't really have many skirmishes, did you? But you managed to keep it all on the straight and narrow, especially here where it's so important. And yeah, well done on the P3. Right then, Zach, I'll hand it back to you then.
Sorry, I just realised I did not unmute myself, so I'm gonna go again there. So yeah, that is the end of our broadcast for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. You're back with just Dara next week, as I'll be doing things on a bi-weekly basis over on my channel for the time being. So you want to go over to TakeOver Racing Twitch and make sure to give them a follow there so you can keep up to date with everything going on in this league to make our brilliant comeback season. It's Austria next week, so you'll see Dara then. But for the next 2 weeks, I'll be not in the comments box, so he'll be taking over as he does a brilliant job as always. So with that then, thank you guys so much for watching, and we shall see you in the next race. Have a good evening, and we'll see you later. Goodbye. And we're out.
Incredible.